interpretation features that you can choose your preferred language channel in your Zoom features. Maybe can slide, please? Mas Adit or whoever control the, okay. Okay, so we have interpretation features. So you can choose your preferred language, whether you want to have Indonesian translation or English translation. You can choose as shown in the screen. I hope it is okay. So next slide, Mas Adit. Before we start our webinar, there are some housekeeping rules that I want to share with all of you. First, for your information, this webinar will be recorded, and later we will share the recording webinar into our website. And it is also live in our Facebook, Global Water Partnership Southeast Asia. If you are not joined yet, you can join later. And the second rule, please mute your audio and turn off your video if you are not presenting, and activate only when asked by the host. Third, please also change your Zoom ID as example there, for example, LV3 GWPC, so that we will be able to recognize you when you are asking some question, for example, later. And lastly, if you encounter any problem with your video or audio, please kindly inform us through the chat box for further assistance. And this is the agenda for today. Can show the agenda? Next slide, please. Okay, so today we will have the opening welcoming remark by myself that I just did, and introducing some housekeeping rules and also agenda. And after this, we will conduct Mentimeter survey just to gather some brief info from all of you. And after that, we will have an opening remark by the chairman of the GWPC, and then followed by two keynote speakers by the chairwoman of IAP2 and Bappenas Indonesia. And then also followed, and then we will take our group photo. And after that, we'll followed by 4 presentation session, and then the discussion with presenter and participants. And then also some key message, summary, and then the closing. Okay, next. So to start our session, we want to conduct a multi-meter survey shortly. So for all of you here, please use your cell phone, or also can open your internet browser from your phone and type in your browser www.menti.com, and then enter the code as shown in this screen, 2046139. I hope you are able to open it. And then please answer survey question in the screen. So can you check? Can you open your mobile or internet browser now? www. Okay, menti.com for those who are still not yet able to open this Mentimeter. So we can see in the screen, some of us comes from attend this webinar from Indonesia mostly, also some from Malaysia, and then from Netherlands also, good to know. And where else? We supposedly have from Lao, our chairman, but maybe not yet joined. Okay, so no. Oh yeah, from Australia.
Yes, good afternoon.
Dr. Intafi. Hi.
Dr. Intafi is here. Yeah,
Maybe
Dr. Intafi, thank you.
Can join our Mentimeter and answer the question, where are you joining us today? From which country?
Well, maybe you can explain again on how to join the Mentimeter.
Okay, So as shown in the screen, Dr. Intafi and also others, just go to the www.menti.com using your mobile or internet browser also can. And then there is a column there to fill up the code. So you can type the code 2046139. And then you can just type the answer there. Yeah, okay. So we have participation from this country, Netherlands, Indonesia, Laos PDR, Malaysia, and also Australia. So good to know. Okay, so next we will move to another question. The second question, as shown. So, okay, from what type of organization of company do you work for? So please type in your answer again in this in the column. Okay, so we have participation from government sector, from local NGOs, and also in international NGO. We have quite many participants from education and research institution. Good to know. And we have also some private entity and professional association, and then partnership platform and others. So if you can see from the screen, today most participants are from education or research institution, which is good to share all of this. Okay, so then thank you for answering. So we have another last question to next question to make all of you familiar with this Mentimeter platform. So what is your understanding regarding public participation? So that we want to know, so maybe later after joining this webinar, the understanding or related to public participation will be increased or how? So we want to know that. Okay, so good to know also. Some or most participants have medium understanding about public participation, and some is quite high understanding about public participation. Okay, so thank you very much. Then we will move to the next part of this event, which is the main event. Okay, thank you for sharing the screen and sharing the answer. Okay, thank you very much. So now we will start our webinar with the opening remark by our chairman Global Water Partnership Southeast Asia, which is Dr. Intafi Akarat. He is also a chairman of ASEAN Water Resources Management Working Group and Director General of Department of Water Resources, Ministry of Natural Resources of Environment in Laos PDR. Please, Dr. Intafi, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm so sorry for being late to join the meeting. Honorable keynote speaker, a chairwoman of International Association of Public Participation Australia, and Dr. Vishnu Utomo, Director of Foreign Policy and International Development Cooperation, Ministry of National Development Planning, Republic of Indonesia. Honorable speakers from the Water Resources Directorate General of Ministry of Public Works and Housing, Republic of Indonesia, Indonesian Water Partnership, Global Environment Center, Malaysia, and Global Water Partnership Southeast Asia, GWPC. Honorable representative from the country Water Partnership in Southeast Asia, distinguished partners of the Global Water Partnership, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to deliver on behalf of the Global Partnership, Water Partnership Southeast Asia, the opening remarks at this special webinar on the ensuring public participation for optimal water governance in achieving water security goals. I would like to first congratulate the main organizers of this event, the Global Water Partnership Southeast Asia. The short name is GWPC, and the International Association of the Public Participation Indonesia for facilitating the multiple stakeholder discussion and international knowledge sharing on the public participation, focusing on what we have been done locally, nationally, regionally, and globally forwards to achieve the water security despite the COVID-19 dynamic situation challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, stakeholder and public participation play a crucial role in the sustaining the health of the ecosystem. Hence, we need to involve them in the management and the monitoring exercise. Getting the community and stakeholders involved of the water management and governance is a big challenge for all of us in achieving water security goals. There is a need for awareness raising, education, and capacity building for all, which is requires a mindset change among public, private, community stakeholders for enhancing current water management system and practices, and the most importantly, for sustaining water resources environment condition for future generation. Ladies and gentlemen, water security is not only the government's responsibility, but also anyone's responsibility. On the ground, both of the government and the social society have delivered great efforts to achieve water security goals, a strategy to monitor the government's efforts, and as well as the civil societies and other stakeholders' efforts and participation are important to be identified in specific mechanism or platform to allow monitoring and evaluation of such initiatives for identifying further necessary action to be undertaken. Through this webinar, we will be able to know the specific platform and how this initiative can be done accordingly. Moreover, once the participation of the civil society is organized and the opportunity to ally the efforts from the government and civil society and can be taken on board, and the systematic collaboration between the government and civil society can be put in place. Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar will be focused to showcase and gain inputs on the different option or mechanism of the enhancing the public participation for optimization, for optimal water governance at the different level, including the communities level, national level, and ministry level, regional level, and international level. I do sincerely hope that through this webinar, we will be able to obtain inputs and insight from the wider stakeholders on the different different option or mechanism of effective public participation for optimal water governance and at different level. At the same time, we provide useful information to all our participants and contribute forward a water secure world. My key message here is that we get a better, not by chance, but by change. So let's change for now and for the future, for the better future. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this webinar will be great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Intafi, for such encouraging message from you, and that will give us a more spirit to be involved in various public participation initiative. So now we will move to the next session, which is our keynote speaker. The first keynote speaker will be from Miss Kylie Cochrane, the International Chair of International Association for Public Participation based in Australasia. So I will hand over to you, Miss Kyle.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm just going to share my screen. So let me know when you can see that, please. So whilst that's coming up, can you see that now?
Yes.
Yes, great, thank you. So one of the things in Australia, we don't have an issue with trying to get people involved in water security, water policy. We actually have an issue where people are very involved and very unhappy with government decisions on water security. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm going to talk about the role of public participation, and I'm going to talk about some of the community outrage trends that we're seeing, which are quite interesting. So first of all, water security is a huge issue in Australia. We have a lack of water, and as you can see, when we're in drought, it can get very severe. We have a boom or bust climate. So we go from very dry for years to, as you can see, this picture here taken only a few months ago of a dam that it was so full they had to deliberately let the water go. So deliberately flood the area below because we had too much water. Now, one of the things we say at IAP2, International Association for Public Participation, is that we have 7 core values, and they are all around this main one, which is the belief that those people who are affected by decisions have the right to be involved in those decision-making processes. And this is fascinating in Australia because the level of involvement is what people argue about. So right now in Australia, we are not in a drought. We actually have lots of rain and lots of water, but people are still arguing with government and arguing with communities around how water security can be obtained in Australia and how the existing water can be allocated, can be shared, can be licensed to different people who are using it. There are also lots of views about how water should be recycled or reused, whether or not we should have dams, whether we should have dams plus other things. And these arguments go on and on and on. And the reason for the level of community outrage is one that I would like to explain as part of the social triangle theory. And this theory states that there are 3 elements that make up a society. The first one is political leaders and institutions. The second is religious institutions. And the third is community, but very much defined here in terms of people and place. Now, the social triangle theory says we no longer have trust in our political leaders. So put a big cross through that one. It says we no longer have trust in our religious institutions. So put a big cross through that. So all we have left that makes up society is people and place. So me, my family, my friends, my house, my land, my town, and anything that threatens me, my family, my friends, my house, my land, or my town, I'm going to greet with suspicion, with anger, with tension. And the big thing, friends, that we need in Australia is water, because without water, nothing can grow. So without water, people's lives and livelihoods in Australia are under threat. I'm going to talk through a few of the trends we're seeing at the moment. So first of all, community is seen by governments and private sector as the biggest threat to water infrastructure projects around the country. I'm personally working on 3 dam projects at the moment, and each of the 3 are in different stages of development. And there's no guarantee that the 3 will go ahead to construction. And that is because of the different level of outrage and distrust around government policy and what makes water security, the different views that people have around that. What we're seeing in Australia is passion joins really unlikely partners. So this image here you can see of a whole bunch of environmentalists joining with some very traditional farmers in the northern part of New South Wales on the east coast of Australia, and they're fighting a dam from being put into their area. Now, you would think that farmers would be happy to have a dam, but they were not in this instance. And you would think that environmentalists, you might think environmentalists would be happy to have a dam. In fact, friends, philosophically, most environmentalists do not like dams because of what they feel are the impacts on the environment downstream from the dam. So although we might be providing water security for irrigators or for towns, environmentalists feel that the water security is impacting or threatening the livelihood of the environment and the creatures in that environment. Just a couple more slides from me. All water projects are political. Now, this lovely photo is of the group of women that are known affectionately in Australia as the knitting nanas or the knitting grandmas. These ladies had never protested before in their lives, but because the coal seam gas industry came to Australia and because there was a lot of fear in our farming communities about the impact that coal seam gas investigations would have on water security in the area, these farmers' wives would sit in front of the farm gates and knit themselves a chain rope that they would tie around themselves and tie themselves to the gates. So why do we see this? Why do we see people, why do we only see, and this question is often asked of me, why do we only see the angry people, the people who are very passionate about water infrastructure projects or water security projects? And that's because our lives are busy. I don't need to tell you that. Our lives are busy. We've got a lot on with work, with children, maybe caring for parents, being involved in our communities, perhaps with our church, with our sporting clubs, our volunteer work. So people are busy, so they're only going to be involved in water security projects or policy when they feel really strongly about it. One of the other trends that I'm sure you're all familiar with is social media has been a massive game changer in the last decade. And it's been fascinating as I look back over my 30-year career and I see the impact of social media. And I can actually nominate 15 years ago a project that I was working on, a desalination project in Sydney, where I was able to look at what was happening in desalination in Europe and in parts of America. And I could predict that those community trends were going to hit Australia a few months later, and they did. The final slide from me, friends, is talking about evidence and data. So one of the things that I have found in Australia working on water security projects is the more evidence and data that we can share with the community, the more reassured the community will be in what we are doing and how we are doing it. And all I'm sharing here is a community dashboard for one of my water projects, Dungowan Dam and Pipeline on the east coast of Australia again, and just sharing with you simply the engagement statistics. So where we've engaged with community, how often, and what that looks like. And simply sharing that with community so they can feel reassured that we are talking with them on a regular basis on a multitude of different ways and channels. So friends, that's just a very, very small insight to water security issues in Australia. And hopefully I can chat with you a little later on if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing with us the public participation values in nurturing water-related development, especially by IAP2 initiative, so which is quite fascinating. So we will eager to know further later. So now we will move to the next keynote speech that will be presented by Dr. Wisnu Utomo on government perspective related to civil society collaboration in planning and budgeting process. He is a director of Foreign Policy and International Development Cooperation, Ministry of National Development Planning or Bappenas, Republic of Indonesia. So Pak Wisnu, the floor is yours.
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to Dr. Intavi Akarat, Chairman of Global Water Partnership of Southeast Asia, Ibu Kylie Cochrane, International Chair of IAP2 Australasia, my friend Pak Aldi Muhammad Alizar, Chairman IAP2 Indonesia, all speakers and participation of the webinar. Thank you to Global Water Partnership and IAP2 Indonesia for the invitation in this webinar. For last 2 years, Bappenas in collaboration with Pak Aldi, IAP2 and his team work together on promoting the multi-stakeholder partnership as an instrument for development. I know in the future, Bappenas will continue to work on MSP initiative. To deliver my remark, please allow me to speak in Indonesia. Pertama-tama, tentunya bersyukur kita panjatkan kehadirat Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, sehingga kita bisa bertemu meskipun dalam virtual, namun saya kira tidak mengurangi makna dari pertemuan pada siang sampai sore hari ini. Bapak Ibu sekalian, saya kira tata kelola sumber daya air ini merupakan salah satu isu pembangunan yang harus mendapatkan perhatian bersama. Untuk itu tentunya diperlukan suatu perencanaan pembangunan yang terpadu, baik dari aspek regulasi, kelembagaan, ataupun juga pendanaannya. Nah, Bapak Ibu sekalian, sistem perencanaan pembangunan di Indonesia itu sudah diatur dalam Undang-Undang Nomor 25 Tahun 2004 tentang Sistem Perencanaan Pembangunan Nasional. Tentunya hal ini agar perencanaan pembangunan dapat disusun secara sistematis, terarah, terpadu, dan tanggap terhadap perubahan. Jadi karena memang situasinya sangat dinamis, sehingga perencanaan tersebut diharapkan memang kita bisa tanggap terhadap perkembangan adanya perubahan. Tentunya kenapa kita menyusun sistem perencanaan pembangunan ini, yang jelas yang pertama pastilah mendukung koordinasi antar pelaku pembangunan. Yang kedua tujuannya adalah menjamin terciptanya integrasi, sinkronisasi, dan juga sinergi dari pembangunan yang akan dilaksanakan. Kemudian tujuan berikutnya saya kira menjamin keterkaitan dan konsistensi antara perencanaan, penganggaran, pelaksanaan, sampai dengan pengawasan. Nah, tentunya yang tidak kalah penting dari itu adalah diharapkan untuk bisa mengoptimalkan partisipasi masyarakat, sehingga tercapainya pembangunan sumber daya secara efisien, efektif, berkeadilan, dan berkelanjutan. Ini bagaimana peran dari partisipasi masyarakat itu sendiri yang kita harapkan. Nah, untuk memastikan pelaksanaan pembangunan yang berkualitas dan efektif, itu tentunya diperlukan keterpaduan antara proses perencanaan dan juga penganggaran. Nah, untuk itu ada peraturan pemerintah nomor 17 tahun 2017. Kami mudah mengingatnya karena nomor 17 tahun 2017 yang diamanatkan di situ adanya sinkronisasi perencanaan dan penganggaran. Tentunya ini dengan pendekatan tematik, holistik, integratif, dan juga spasial. Dan yang tidak ketinggalan adalah kita masih melakukan pendekatan dengan kebijakan money flow program. Jadi uang itu kita alokasikan untuk program, bukan untuk fungsi-fungsi tertentu, tapi kita mencoba melihat mana prioritas-prioritas, program-program prioritas yang perlu kita selesaikan, sehingga anggaran yang ada atau pendanaan yang ada benar-benar efektif dan optimal digunakan untuk sepenuhnya kesejahteraan masyarakat. Bapak Ibu sekalian, Kementerian Perencanaan Pembangunan ini oleh Presiden diamanatkan untuk bisa berperan sebagai clearinghouse dalam perencanaan, yaitu bagaimana memastikan seluruh usulan kementerian lembaga dalam rangka pembangunan nasional, termasuk prioritas nasional untuk menjamin ketepatan sasaran pembangunan nasional. Jadi kalau sekarang Bappenas itu sering melakukan kunjungan kerja ke daerah, itu adalah dalam rangka kita melihat bagaimana adanya permasalahan-permasalahan yang dihadapi, sehingga permasalahan itu bisa segera diketahui untuk bisa segera pula dicari solusi penyelesaiannya. Memang barangkali akhir-akhir ini laporan-laporan Bappenas kepada Bapak Presiden isinya bukan keberhasilan-keberhasilan, namun justru permasalahan-permasalahan yang ada. Dan rupanya Bapak Jokowi juga sangat senang dengan adanya laporan-laporan. Justru yang diharapkan oleh Bapak Presiden itu permasalahan-permasalahan yang ada di daerah. Sehingga program-program yang sudah dicanangkan oleh Presiden itu bisa benar-benar dirasakan manfaatnya oleh masyarakat. Untuk itu memang diharapkan memang justru permasalahan-permasalahan yang bisa dilaporkan kepada Bapak Presiden untuk bisa segera dicari solusinya. Nah, peran dari clearinghouse itu sendiri untuk menyelaraskan perencanaan, implementasi, itu misalnya dalam rencana KL, dalam RKAKL, dalam rencana sektor swasta maupun BUMN. Jadi kita tidak hanya sendiri, tapi bagaimana melibatkan swasta dan BUMN, dan juga bagaimana kita memobilisasi berbagai sumber dan skema pembiayaan, serta pemantauan dan evaluasi pada siklus perencanaan pembangunan nasional. Jadi barangkali yang sekarang ada di media, sekarang Bappenas tentunya lebih banyak di daerah untuk bisa menggali permasalahan-permasalahan yang ada. Untuk itu memang beberapa tugas Kementerian PPN Bappenas itu menyiapkan rancangan dari rencana pembangunan nasional dan menelaah rancangan tersebut ke dalam rencana strategis dan juga rencana kerja kementerian lembaga, serta memastikan partisipasi dari seluruh unsur pemangku kepentingan melalui musyawarah perencanaan pembangunan. Kenapa kita sekarang mencoba menggiatkan lagi musyawarah untuk bisa mensinergikan antara dari perencanaan sampai pelaksanaan. Kita kalau tadi kami sampaikan tematik, holistik, integratif, dan spasial, itu tentunya bagaimana kita bisa melaksanakan program itu benar-benar terpadu dan sinergi. Jangan sampai program ini berjalan sendiri-sendiri sehingga tidak nyambung. Misalnya kalau kami beri contoh adalah dalam program transmigrasi misalnya. Transmigrasi itu tidak sekedar memindahkan manusia dari Pulau Jawa ke daerah lain untuk bisa meningkatkan kesejahteraannya, tapi untuk memindahkan itu tentunya ada keterlibatan berbagai pihak. Tidak saja ditanggung oleh Kementerian Desa dan Transmigrasi, tapi juga melibatkan Kementerian PU, Kementerian Pendidikan, Kementerian Perdagangan, dan beberapa kementerian yang lain. Ini kenapa tujuannya? Supaya program transmigrasi itu tidak, yang kami sampaikan tadi, tidak sekedar memindahkan manusia. Jangan sampai kita memindahkan manusia, sudah sampai di sana, misalnya lahannya belum siap. Sudah sampai di sana, lahannya sudah siap, masyarakat yang ditransmigrasikan sudah misalnya melakukan budidaya tanaman. Pada saat menghasilkan, tidak ada tempat untuk menjual hasil tanamannya, hasil bertaninya. Pada saat mereka sudah mempunyai anak, tidak ada tempat untuk sekolahnya. Pada saat mereka mau melakukan mobilisasi, jalannya belum siap. Pada saat menanam, irigasinya belum siap. Nah, ini perlunya tentunya bagaimana kita melibatkan berbagai pihak untuk bersama-sama memikirkan sehingga ada kesatuan. Pada saat memindahkan manusia transmigrasi, tentunya lahannya sudah siap. Kemudian jalan juga sudah siap. Sudah ada sekolah yang dibangun dulu, sudah ada pasar yang dibangun dulu, sehingga masyarakat yang ditransmigrasikan tersebut bisa menyekolahkan anaknya, bisa menjual hasil buminya, ada jalan transportasi, sarana transportasi, yang ini tentunya pemikirannya harus secara global. Spasial, integratif, tematik, dan juga terintegratif, holistik. Nah, itulah Bapak sekalian, Bapak Ibu sekalian, bagaimana partisipasi itu perlu sekali lagi untuk diperkuat lagi, sehingga bersama-sama kita bisa melaksanakan secara sinergi, secara sinkron, dan ini lebih efektif dan lebih optimal. Bapak Ibu sekalian, tadi di depan sudah kami singgung mengenai musyawarah perencanaan pembangunan nasional. Musyawarah perencanaan pembangunan nasional ini saya kira merupakan wadah bagi seluruh pemangku kepentingan untuk berkontribusi menyampaikan gagasan-gagasan dan juga pandangan-pandangannya dalam pembangunan nasional sejak dari proses perencanaan sampai dengan nanti pelaksanaannya. Baik itu dari daerah sampai dengan nanti di tingkat nasional. Nah, melalui musrenbang ini, musyawarah perencanaan pembangunan ini, tentunya diharapkan dokumen perencanaan pembangunan itu dapat mengakomodir kebutuhan dalam menjawab tantangan pembangunan melalui perencanaan yang partisipatif. Karena kenapa partisipasi? Karena memang ini perencanaan ini dihimpun dari benar-benar dari bawah, dari kebutuhan masyarakat, masuk ke desa, bisa dinaikkan ke kecamatan, kecamatan ke kabupaten, kabupaten ke provinsi, provinsi nasional, dikombinasikan dengan sektor. Nah, ini saya kira dengan adanya tahap partisipasi ini merupakan kata kunci untuk mencapai pembangunan yang inklusif. Oleh karena itu, salah satu instrumen pentingnya dalam kemitraan multi pihak adanya partisipasi ini. Kemitraan multi pihak merupakan instrumen yang menjembatani seluruh pemangku kepentingan untuk berbagi keahlian, pengalaman, teknologi, dan pendanaan guna mencapai tujuan bersama. Kami menyadari memang melakukan kemitraan multi pihak itu tidak mudah, tidak semudah yang kita bayangkan, tidak semudah yang kita katakan, tapi itu perlu harus dengan kerja keras, kerja bersama, sehingga kemitraan multi pihak ini bisa berjalan dengan baik. Untuk itu memang Kementerian PPN Bappenas mendorong partisipasi dan koordinasi yang kuat antara pemerintah dengan seluruh pemangku kepentingan, yaitu baik parlemen, kemudian ada organisasi masyarakat sipil, ada media, ada filantropi, dan juga masyarakat bisnis, termasuk juga para pakar dan akademisi untuk bersinergi sesuai dengan peran dan fungsi masing-masing. Nah, kami memang menyadari bahwa jika semua itu saling bersinergi, pasti akan menjadi sebuah kekuatan yang dahsyat. Misalnya jika kita bisa bersinergi, bisa memadukan pihak-pihak yang terkait, maka keterpaduan dalam pembangunan itu tentunya akan lebih dahsyat seperti yang kami sampaikan. Karena kalau misalnya pemerintah, kemudian swasta, ataupun juga masyarakat itu bergabung bersama-sama, tentunya hasilnya akan sangat luar biasa. Kami membayangkan misalnya kalau pemerintah itu pastinya tujuan akan bagaimana kita mencapai tujuan nasional, bagaimana kita bisa melindungi segenap bangsa, bagaimana kita bisa memajukan kesejahteraan umum, bagaimana kita bisa mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa, dan juga bagaimana kita bisa melaksanakan ketertiban dunia. Ini saya kira tujuan-tujuan pemerintah ini kalau bisa disinergikan dengan teman-teman dari swasta, dari masyarakat yang lain, tentunya akan luar biasa. Kalau swasta pasti tujuannya keuntungan lah pasti. Bagaimana bisa meraih keuntungan. Kalau LSM barangkali tujuannya adalah bagaimana program pemerintah itu sampai dengan masyarakat. Nah, kalau tiga hal ini bisa disatukan, pemerintah, swasta, dan LSM misalnya, itu luar biasa. Yang kami sebut tadi dahsyat, saya kira di situ. Jadi kegiatan tersebut menguntungkan, kehidupan tersebut mencapai tujuan nasional, dan yang jelas sampai kepada masyarakat. Ini luar biasa dahsyatnya. Nah, tentunya memang kaitannya dengan itu, kami di Bappenas juga sudah menyusun bagaimana panduan kemitraan multi pihak itu sendiri sebagai acuan bagi masing-masing pemangku kepentingan dalam melakukan kolaborasi untuk menjawab isu-isu pembangunan termasuk tantangan tata kelola dan sumber daya air ini. Nah, buku panduan ini saya kira sudah kami terbitkan dan katanya kemarin di New York sempat diapresiasi oleh beberapa negara terkait dengan SDGs goal yang ke-17, itu tentunya Indonesia yang sudah menyusun panduan kemitraan multi pihak ini mendapat apresiasi dari negara-negara lain. Ini tentunya nanti bisa direplikasi di negara-negara lain untuk bisa diterapkan di negara-negara tersebut. Memang sejak tahun 2020, Bappenas setelah menginisiasi kemitraan multi pihak di berbagai daerah. Kami juga telah, kami tadi sampaikan bahwa kami juga dengan IP2 ini bekerja sama waktu itu di Belitung, Bangka Belitung, untuk kita melakukan kemitraan multi pihak di sana. Ada beberapa contoh kemitraan multi pihak yang sudah kami lakukan, misalnya yang di Bangka Belitung tadi kami bersama-sama dengan teman-teman di IP2, Pak Aldi dan kawan-kawan, itu bagaimana kita melakukan penguatan BUM desa di Bangka Belitung. Kemudian di Jawa Tengah kita juga melakukan kemitraan multi pihak terkait dengan kemitraan tambak udang di Purworejo. Nah, ini saya kira bagaimana kemitraan multi pihak itu bisa mengangkat masyarakat yang hidupnya bisa dikatakan miskin. Dengan adanya kemitraan ini, bagaimana kita melibatkan balai-balai yang ada di Jepara, yang mereka menguasai bagaimana budidaya udang. Nah, masyarakat miskin yang ada di Purworejo ini diberikan ilmu mengenai bagaimana membuat tambak udang, dan akhirnya mereka sekarang sudah terangkat hidupnya. Kalau dulu hidupnya miskin, waktu kami kemarin ke sana, para petambak udang ini mobilnya sudah ada yang pakai Pajero, ada yang sudah pakai Innova, dan luar biasa. Ini saya kira membuat kita yang gemar dan mengangkat kemitraan sebagai sarana untuk meningkatkan kesejahteraan, ini sangat bangga sekali. Kemitraan yang terkait dengan bidang vokasi pendidikan kami lakukan di Jawa Barat bersama-sama dengan perguruan tinggi di Jawa Barat. Kemitraan terkait dengan pengembangan kelapa itu kami lakukan dengan teman-teman di Sulawesi Utara dan juga di Maluku Utara. Di Kabupaten Morotai misalnya. Di sana ada suatu desa Bido yang mempunyai varietas kelapa bido, dan itu diharapkan nanti bisa mengembangkan kelapanya. Kami bisa membayangkan, kelapa biasa yang harganya 5.000, satu kelapa itu harganya bisa mencapai 100.000. Ini saya kira bisa mengangkat kesejahteraan masyarakat itu sendiri. Ini karena bagaimana kita meningkatkan kemitraan tersebut sehingga ada beberapa pihak yang kita libatkan dalam pengembangan di suatu daerah yang bisa dikatakan miskin dan bisa mengangkat kesejahteraan dari masyarakat tersebut. Nah, ini beberapa tantangan kolaborasi tentu masih kita hadapi, meskipun ada khususan, tapi beberapa tantangan memang harus kita hadapi semua. Beberapa tantangan tersebut dalam kolaborasi ini saya kira misalnya partisipasi non-state actor ini masih perlu dioptimalkan sehingga kegiatan dapat berkelanjutan dengan mengawal dan memonitor pelaksanaan proyek kegiatan. Jangan sampai ini hanya di awal saja, belakangnya tidak berkelanjutan. Ini masih perlu kita optimalkan lagi. Kemudian adanya gap knowledge dan data antara pemerintah dengan non-state actor, yang ini tentunya harus nanti kita perkuat, kita perbaiki, dan juga adanya perbedaan kepentingan. Perbedaan kepentingan seperti yang kami sampaikan ini, perbedaan kepentingan antara pemerintah, perbedaan kepentingan antara swasta, perbedaan kepentingan antara teman-teman di lembaga swadaya masyarakat, ini berbeda-beda. Tapi kalau bisa disatukan, seperti yang kami sampaikan tadi, tentunya hasilnya akan menjadi suatu hal yang dahsyat, dan itu sangat bermanfaat buat masyarakat. Selain itu, Bapak Ibu sekalian, terdapat tantangan untuk sinkronisasi perencanaan pembangunan. Nah, tata kelola sumber daya air ini merupakan isu cross-sektoral, sehingga perlu adanya koordinasi sejak perencanaan. Tanpa koordinasi yang baik, kami yakin pembangunan ini menjadi tidak optimal. Tidak optimal dirasakan dampaknya oleh masyarakat. Dulu pernah Pak Jokowi bertandang ke Aceh, dia menemukan sebuah semacam waduk, namun waduk tersebut tidak bisa berfungsi karena waduknya sudah dibangun tapi salurannya belum dibangun. Jadi jangan sampai ada pembangunan yang sepotong-sepotong. Ini harus ada suatu kesinkronan, kesinergian sehingga apa yang dilakukan bisa bermanfaat untuk bagi semua, bisa dioptimalkan pemanfaatannya. Bapak Ibu sekalian, ada beberapa contoh pengembangan tata kelola sumber daya air yang kolaboratif, misalnya adalah pilot project pemeliharaan irigasi berbasis participatory irrigation management yang ada di Pantura, Jawa. Perencanaannya melibatkan kementerian lembaga, kemudian Pemda, dan juga organisasi petani atau kelompok petani. Proyek ini diharapkan dapat meningkatkan efektivitas pemeliharaan infrastruktur irigasi dan juga membantu petani mendapatkan penghasilan tambahan. Ini saya kira salah satu contoh bagaimana pengembangan dalam pengelolaan sumber daya perairan yang nanti harusnya terkait dengan multi stakeholder tadi. Kemudian contoh yang adalah program Integrated Participatory Development and Management of Irrigation Program. Ini merupakan kolaborasi antara Bappenas, Kementerian Pertanian, Kementerian PUPR, Kementerian Dalam Negeri, dengan dukungan Asian Development Bank dan juga IFAD. Tujuannya untuk memperkuat sistem dan kapasitas kelembagaan irigasi yang berkelanjutan. Ini contoh yang kedua. Kemudian yang ketiga, contoh satu lagi adalah program PAMSIMAS, yaitu penyediaan air minum dan sanitasi berbasis masyarakat. Ini merupakan program kolaborasi antara pemerintah pusat, pemerintah daerah, dan juga Bank Dunia di wilayah pedesaan. Ini saya kira kalau bisa dikembangkan tentunya akan bermanfaat buat masyarakat di desa. Program ini bertujuan untuk meningkatkan jumlah masyarakat yang dapat mengakses air minum dan sanitasi secara berkelanjutan. Nah ini Bapak Ibu sekalian, saya kira yang bisa kami berikan contoh-contoh yang tentunya nanti bisa dikembangkan lagi dengan inovasi-inovasi yang lebih mantap lagi dan tentunya diharapkan bermanfaat buat masyarakat semuanya. Mungkin barangkali itu yang bisa kami sampaikan. Saya berharap webinar pada hari ini tentunya menghasilkan output konkret berupa inisiasi-inisiasi kemitraan untuk memperkuat tata kelola sumber daya air di tingkat daerah maupun juga nasional. Tentunya untuk memberikan manfaat dan kesejahteraan bagi masyarakat dan upaya mencapai target pembangunan nasional dan juga target global. Mungkin itu yang kami sampaikan. Mohon maaf kalau ada yang kurang berkenan. Kami tutup dengan wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Oke, terima kasih Pak Wisnu atas sharing session-nya barusan. on the participation and challenges faced by the government sector related to public participation. For those who have questions to our keynote speaker, you can do that later during the Q&A session or via Mentimeter. So thank you once again for our keynote speaker, Ms. Kyle and Pak Wisnu, for the inspiring speech. So we will move to the next session, which is group photo, before we start the presentation session. For all participants, you can turn on your camera now, your video. And the host will take photo for all of us.
Oke, terima kasih Bu Elvi. Saatnya kita akan foto bersama. Saya akan membantu fotonya, oke. Untuk ini ada beberapa slide yang saya foto, ada 3-4 slide. Untuk yang foto yang pertama, saya aba-aba ya, Bapak-Bapak dan Ibu. 3, 2, 1. Oke, tunggu. Oke. Next ke slide berikutnya. 3, 2, 1. Oke. Dan yang terakhir, slide yang terakhir. Oke, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, terima kasih Ibu. Sudah.
Thank you all for participating in the group photo just now. So now we will have our next session, which is presentation session, which will be moderated by Mr. Aldi Muhammad Alizar. He is the chairperson of International Association for Public Participation Indonesia. So Pak Aldi, you can start the presentation session and moderate the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Elvi, for the introductions. Hello, participants and also presenters today. I will be your moderator for say 30 to 1 hours. And then again, welcome to our webinar, Global Water Partnership and IAP2. The aim of this webinar is to give insight to all of you about participation in our open water governance from multi-stakeholders. So we have our 4 presenters today. I would like to welcome of our presenter. First, Pak Sigit Handandaya. I will explain later in detail. And second, Pak Khalid Hasan. And third, Pak Muhammad Amron. And then last but not least, Pak Fani. So again, thank you very much for the keynote speech, especially from Pak Wisnu, my friend from Bapenas, and also from Dr. Intafi, and then also from Kali. Just for your information, the IAP2 is an international organization with a federation model. Currently, Kylie Cochrane is our international chair, and I'm a part of the international federation as a director, and I also chairing IAP2 Indonesia as a region. So without further ado, I would like to ask by the way, please also use Mentimeter for Q&A, question and answers. Please, you can use your cell phone or website, and then or internet browser. I mean, the browser you can type www.menti.com, and the enter code is 20 46 13 and 9. Please, we encourage you to submit your questions, or you can vote for the similar questions. So yeah, please engage us in this webinar through the Mentimeter. Be involved. So again, without further ado, I would like to provide space and time to our respected presenter, Bapak Mr. Sigit Hanandaya juga Pramana. He is currently Chief of the Sub-Directorate of Technical Planning and Institutional, Directorate of Operational and Maintenance, Minister of Public Works and Housing from Republic of Indonesia. Please, Pak Sigit, the time is yours. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Suara saya terdengar, Pak?
Jelas,
Halo?
Pak.
Suara saya terdengar, Pak?
Ini nggak kedengaran, Pak.
Halo?
Halo, agak jauh apa?
Jelas,
Agak jauh
Pak Sigit,
suaranya, Pak. Agak pelan.
Tes.
Jelas, Pak. Jelas.
Baik. Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Sesuai dengan undangan yang kami dapat pada kesempatan ini, saya akan menyampaikan paparan mengenai performance civil society collaboration in integrated water resources management. Mohon izin untuk share paparannya mungkin dari panitia ya. Ya, baik. Jadi saya akan mulai dari Undang-Undang Sumber Daya Air, sebagaimana telah ditetapkan atau diatur di dalam Undang-Undang Sumber Daya Air bahwa pengelolaan sumber daya air atau IWRM itu terdiri dari 3 kegiatan utama, yaitu konservasi sumber daya air, pendayagunaan sumber daya air, dan pengendalian daya rusak air. Nah, ketiga kegiatan utama ini dilakukan melalui tahapan sejak dari perencanaan, kemudian pelaksanaan, baik ini pelaksanaan konstruksi maupun yang non-konstruksi, kemudian operasi dan pemeliharaan, serta evaluasi, pemantauan dan evaluasi. Tentu saja kalau kita melihat cakupan dari manajemen ini, serta tahapan yang dilakukan, maka akan banyak berbagai institusi di Indonesia, baik itu institusi pemerintah di Indonesia yang terlibat, karena memang berbanyak tugas-tugas atau urusan di dalam sumber daya air ini yang terkait dengan berbagai kementerian di tingkat pusat maupun dinas di tingkat provinsi atau di kabupaten kota. Selain itu juga dari sisi pemanfaatan, banyak sektor atau masyarakat pengguna yang akan memerlukan sumber daya air. Dan isu-isu mengenai konservasi, perlindungan sumber daya air, pengendalian daya rusak air ini juga sangat erat hubungannya dengan kepentingan masyarakat. Oleh karena itu akan banyak sekali stakeholder yang terlibat di dalam pengelolaan sumber daya air ini. Tidak dapat hanya dikerjakan atau dilakukan oleh satu kementerian atau instansi tertentu. Berikutnya, nah, namun apabila kita lihat dari fungsi institusi di dalam pengelolaan sumber daya air, maka bisa kita lihat ada beberapa fungsi institusi. Pertama, sebagai regulator, di sini ada pemerintah, kemudian DPRD, ada DPR, kemudian ada juga gubernur misalnya, kemudian ada developer. Developer ini di sini kalau untuk yang kewenangan pemerintah pusat ini dilakukan oleh Balai sebagai UPT atau Central Technical Unit, kemudian juga ada UPTD yang dari dinas, kemudian juga ada BUMN, BUMD, kemudian sebagai operator. Nah ini memang ada sebagai UPT atau balai-balai yang ada di Indonesia ini juga berfungsi sebagai developer dan operator. Namun ada beberapa wilayah sungai ini terpisah antara developer dengan operator, yaitu operator dilakukan oleh BUMN. Di Indonesia ada 2 BUMN, PJT 1, Perum Jasa Tirta 1, dan Perum Jasa Tirta 2. Yang berikutnya adalah dari kelompok user, di mana di situ ada berbagai sektor, baik pertanian, industri, kemudian ketenagaan, ada turisme, kemudian dan lain-lain, serta berbagai macam lembaga masyarakat, kemudian pemerhati lingkungan, dan lain-lain. Nah, tentu saja semua institusi atau pihak-pihak yang berkepentingan ini perlu sinergi, perlu kerjasama, dan perlu saling mendukung dan lain-lain, sehingga diperlukan adanya koordinator atau perlu berkoordinasi di antara mereka itu untuk melakukan pengelolaan sumber daya air. Nah, disinilah makanya di dalam undang-undang juga dikenal adanya wadah koordinasi. Terus, nah melihat hal tersebut, Bapak dan Ibu, maka di dalam pengelolaan sumber daya air, ini koordinasi antara stakeholder ini merupakan hal yang memang harus dilakukan dan tidak bisa dipungkiri, karena itu tadi, selain memang air ini menjadi urusan banyak instansi dan lintas sektoral, terutama di Indonesia yang karakteristik sumber daya airnya banyak yang lintas wilayah administrasi, maka harus mengkoordinasikan juga peran antar berbagai pemerintah daerah, kemudian antar pengguna, dan inilah makanya sangat diperlukan koordinasi di antara stakeholder ini. Terus, Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, kalau kita lihat memang dan sekarang ini sudah ada, ini koordinasi ini dilakukan baik pada tingkat berdasarkan wilayah administrasi atau wilayah sungai, berbasis wilayah sungai. Nah, untuk tingkat administrasi ini ada pada tingkat nasional, di mana ini sudah terbentuk Dewan Nasional Sumber Daya Air, kemudian ada di tingkat provinsi, ada di tingkat kabupaten kota, maupun di tingkat wilayah sungai. Nah, di tingkat wilayah sungai inilah yang sekarang ini kita sebut dengan TKPSDA, Tim Koordinasi Pengelolaan Sumber Daya Air. Nah, inilah yang akan mengkoordinasikan kepentingan-kepentingan lintas sektoral, lintas wilayah administrasi, atau lintas wilayah pemerintahan, kemudian juga mengkoordinasikan antar berbagai sektor dan stakeholder yang ada di dalam satu wilayah sungai. Terus, nah, secara rinci dari yang kami sampaikan sebelumnya, jadi ada di tingkat administrasi, berdasarkan wilayah administrasi ada nasional, provinsi, dan kabupaten kota, ini dibentuk oleh masing-masing pemerintah sesuai dengan, atau pemerintah daerah sesuai dengan kewenangannya, di mana di undang-undang diatur bahwa untuk tingkat nasional, dan sekarang sudah dibentuk, ditetapkan oleh Presiden. Nah, untuk di Undang-Undang 17 2019 ini, untuk untuk provinsi, dan kabupaten kota, ini dapat dibentuk. Ini merupakan hasil evaluasi dari Undang-Undang 7 tahun 2004, di mana sebelumnya adalah wajib dibentuk untuk provinsi. Namun demikian, pada pelaksanaannya seringkali pemerintah dan dinas-dinas pemerintah daerah provinsi yang terdiri dari dinas-dinas di tingkat provinsi ini seringkali akhirnya banyak menjadi anggota wadah-wadah koordinasi di provinsi tersebut. Ada yang di provinsinya, ada di wilayah sungainya sendiri, ada di wilayah sungainya kewenangan pusat, ada di wilayah sungai yang kewenangan strategis nasional. Jadi keanggotaannya ada di mana-mana, sehingga dan seringkali dalam sidang-sidang akan tumpang tindih atau waktunya bersinggungan dan segala macam. Oleh karena itu, untuk mengefektifkan hal ini, di Undang-Undang 17 dievaluasi bahwa tidak harus selalu terbentuk wadah koordinasi tingkat provinsi atau tingkat kabupaten kota, namun koordinasi tetap dilakukan, namun dengan oleh pemerintah daerah setempat, baik provinsi maupun kabupaten kota. Nah, sedangkan untuk wilayah sungai, untuk koordinasi pada tingkat wilayah sungai yang sifatnya operasional. Jadi kalau yang tingkat wilayah administrasi tadi adalah hasilnya merupakan kebijakan, baik tingkat kebijakan tingkat nasional, provinsi maupun kabupaten kota. Kalau di tingkat wilayah sungai sifatnya adalah operasional, Bapak dan Ibu. Dan ini harus dibentuk juga. Jadi di semua wilayah sungai harus terbentuk wadah koordinasi. Nah, wadah koordinasi ini baik yang berbasis wilayah administrasi maupun wilayah sungai, itu keanggotaannya terdiri dari pemerintah maupun non pemerintah. Dan kami sudah mempunyai pedoman bagaimana tata cara pembentukannya, prosedur pembentukannya, prosedur pemilihan anggotanya, dan lain-lain. Terus, nah ini sebagai gambaran keanggotaan TKPSDA. Jadi kalau kita sudah berbicara mengenai real kegiatan pengelolaannya, itu kita berbicaranya pada tingkat wilayah sungai, di mana wadah koordinasinya adalah tim koordinasi pengelolaan sumber daya air tadi, TKPSDA. Nah, untuk wilayah sungai kewenangan pusat, di Indonesia ini ada 124 wilayah sungai, terbagi menjadi 124 wilayah sungai, di mana 64 adalah kewenangan pemerintah pusat, maka pemerintah pusat harus membentuk 64 TKPSDA. Sisanya adalah kewenangan pemerintah provinsi dan kabupaten kota. Nah, untuk yang kewenangan pemerintah pusat sudah terbentuk semua dengan keanggotaannya sebagaimana terlampir di dalam tersaji di dalam slide. Banyak ada terdiri dari BBWS atau BWS atau ini dikenal sebagai unit pelaksana teknis tadi, mewakili dari Ditjen SDA, kemudian ada pemerintah wakil dari pemerintah provinsi, kemudian ada juga wakil dari pemerintah kabupaten kota, baik di dalam dari pertanian, kemudian dinas PUPR atau dinas PSDA, dari kehutanan dan lingkungan hidup, kemudian juga dari masyarakat. Yang ini adalah organisasi atau asosiasi yang mewakili masyarakat yang terkait dengan sumber daya air. Baik dari petani, ada air minum, industri, perikanan, kemudian ada lembaga masyarakat yang concern terhadap konservasi, kemudian dari pengguna untuk ketenagaan atau listrik, misalnya dari PLN, kemudian transportasi, ada juga untuk wisata atau olahraga, kemudian dari pertambangan, kehutanan, dan lain-lain. Jadi inilah yang akan menjadi anggota TKPSDA, di mana mereka akan selalu bersidang untuk merumuskan atau memecahkan, membicarakan permasalahan yang ada di wilayah sungai mereka masing-masing. Terus, nah ini Bapak dan Ibu secara garis besar tugas dan fungsi dari TKPSDA, yaitu untuk membahas atau merumuskan pola pengelolaan sumber daya air atau Water Resources Strategic Plan, dan kemudian rencana pengelolaan sumber daya air atau Master Plan, kemudian juga program pengelolaannya. Dan ini kenapa sampai ke program Bapak dan Ibu, karena memang seringkali, dan bukan seringkali, memang program yang dirumuskan atau kegiatan pengelolaan sumber daya air yang dirumuskan setiap tahunnya itu harus terintegrasi dan sinergi antar berbagai institusi yang ada di dalam wilayah sungai tersebut. Oleh karena itu dibahas di dalam wadah koordinasi ini. Kemudian alokasi air, berapa petani memerlukan air, bagaimana PDAM, bagaimana industri, dan seterusnya. Makanya ini juga dibahas di dalam TKPSDA. Kemudian masalah pengelolaan sistem hidrologi, hidrometeorologi, hidrogeologi, ini juga karena juga banyak pihak yang berkepentingan, banyak pihak yang mempunyai tugas dan fungsi terkait sistem informasi tersebut, maka ini juga dibahas di dalam wadah koordinasi ini, TKPSDA ini. Kemudian juga pemanfaatan kelembagaannya, karena seringkali ada satu isu yang ini siapa, lembaga mana yang perlu didorong, lembaga mana yang perlu mendapat perhatian lebih, misalnya seperti itu. Nah, semua rumusan-rumusan hasil rumusan tadi, Bapak dan Ibu, itu akan menjadi rekomendasi dari para anggota TKPSDA tadi, karena ini kewenangan wilayah sungai kewenangan pemerintah pusat, maka rekomendasi ini diberikan kepada Kementerian PUPR. Nah, untuk fungsinya ini akan melakukan konsultasi terkait dengan pengelolaan sumber daya air, kemudian mengintegrasikan kepentingan dan isu-isu berbagai sektor, serta melakukan monitoring dan evaluasi di dalam pelaksanaan baik program maupun perencanaan yang tadi sudah disepakati. Apakah itu berjalan sesuai dengan kesepakatannya tidak? Atau ada pihak-pihak atau stakeholder yang ada di wilayah sungai yang jalan sendiri, tidak sesuai dengan kesepakatan, nah itu akan jadi bahan dari evaluasi di dalam sidang TKPSDA. Terus, saya rasa itu secara singkat mudah-mudahan bisa memberikan pemahaman yang atau masukan kepada Bapak dan Ibu semua terhadap pelaksanaan koordinasi yang atau pengelolaan sumber daya air di Indonesia melibatkan berbagai sektor melalui wadah koordinasi. Mohon maaf apabila dalam menyampaikan paparan ini mungkin ada hal yang kurang berkenan. Untuk sementara waktu kami kembalikan kepada moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak Sigit, for your great presentations. I would like to take discretion of moderator for one questions for Miss Kylie, because Ibu Kylie will leave at 3:30. So I would like to ask one question for her about in regard to your explanations. So let me read. Yeah. So Kylie. The profession of community and stakeholder engagement has a major globally, thanks to IP2, and reach the evolutionary point whereby it needs a professional standard framework to provide community practitioner and government confidence in the effective of practice of engagement, as well as supporting career and professional pathways for practitioner in the field. In accordance with this, what are the good practices of implementing a framework related to stakeholder involvement in the realization of achieving water sustainability targets? Thank you. Please, Kylie.
Thanks, Audi. Appreciate the question. So good engagement practice for stakeholder engagement in realizing water sustainability targets follows the same approach as good engagement for all policy initiatives and projects, and that is recognize that people impacted by the water security will want to have a say in the development of the policy. To ensure you have an approach where there are multiple opportunities or multiple channels for them to give feedback, so ensure they have a say. And 3, ensure there is that feedback loop. So you go back to people who were involved to talk about what feedback has been heard, what's been incorporated, and why, or conversely, why not. So that's good engagement. Great engagement would also include options for people to co-design that sustainability policy. So what does co-design look like? It's when governments who are usually governments making the water sustainability policy are in a room with all of the other players or community and stakeholders who have an interest or involvement, and they actually come up with those ideas together. So there's a big difference between good and great and lots of different things in between. But they're the sorts of key things that need to be involved.
Okay, thank you for your answers, Kylie. So I think I only have one question, and if you want to leave at 3:30, please. And again, thank you for the time and opportunity to participate in this webinar. Be healthy and be safe for you, and families. Thank you.
Thank you, Aldi. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great honor. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night. Okay. Thank you. So Kylie is in Sydney, so I think 3 or 4 hours difference. That's why she mentioned about good night. So so we continue our presentations with the next presenters, which is Pak Dr. Insinyur Muhammad Amron, MSc. He is now Executive Chairperson of Indonesia Water Partnerships. He is also Vice President of International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage. Formerly, he was a Director General of Water Resources, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, Republic of Indonesia. He loved to wear Indonesia culture hat from Bali. So without further ado, Pak Amron, the time and space is yours. Please, Pak.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, can I share it or the Secretariat will share it? Well, my topics actually about the Indonesian water partnerships in pursuing water governance through public partnerships. I don't know. And then I would like to say some things about background and establishment of Indonesian water partnerships. Then I will discuss a little bit about mapping of water resources stakeholder. Then capacity buildings for partners, roles and activities, and closing remarks. Okay, please continue. Yeah, I would like something about this picture. This is actually, he's now Minister of Public Works of Republik Indonesia, and he built 69 dams within 5 years, and also 1,000 kilometers of toll road. So it's quite famous. Pak Basuki also is the one who chaired the Indonesian Water Partnership in the past. Please forward. Next. Yeah, say about background. Well, problems and challenges, I think, is everywhere. Although that Indonesian and also another Southeast Asia countries has abundant water, but distributions in terms of seasons and geographical area. So sometimes that we can have a lot of water, and sometimes we don't have any water. So that's water scarcity. And interestingly, in Indonesia, about half of GDP generated in a water stress area, and also really dense populations. So that will be the increase in conflict there. Then, of course, will disturbing economic development in terms of food security, public health, and of course, environmental deterioration. And then we start the bureaucracy reformations in progress. There's about management measures, infrastructure and software development, enabling environment. This is including regulations, law, and government regulations, institution and services improvement. So this is in progress. Then, of course, it requires stakeholder participation in activities. And already mentioned by Pak Sigit that are 3 pillars: conservation, water resources utilization, and managing the destruction power of water. So that's need a dialogue multi-stakeholder in the form of water forum. Next, please. Okay, I think this is mapping about the Indonesian water partnerships to discuss water resources problems that require input of thought and agreement to provide policy recommendation and sustainable development strategies. And then in Southeast Asia Water Forum, actually the third in Kuala Lumpur, 2007, it's a long time ago. This is about the IWRM implementation within members country, and also share knowledge and experiences in implementing of WRM to stakeholders. And recently also Asia Water Forums focus mainly on information, innovation, and technology. And actually the work started in 1997, conducted every 3 years. This is World Water Forums. Next, please. Okay, and then Indonesian Water Resources Stakeholder Gathering to discuss problems and priority actions to be conducted by all parties. This first Indonesian Water Forum is in 2000 in Jakarta, agreed to several issues. First, to promote national vision in achieving a secure, efficient, and sustainable water utilization for the whole populations, and to support government in doing water resources policy reforms. And then during the second Indonesian Water Forum, this is a time when Indonesian Water Partnership being established as a network of all stakeholders. And then at that time, we select representatives from various stakeholders as a nominating committee. Please, next. Okay, now we talk about water resources stakeholder mapping. What does it mean by stakeholders? So that's the people who has influence, and also people being influenced, or this is affected people actually. And then the other group is people who has the knowledge. And then we make a map whether this interest is high or low, and also the power or influence is low or high. So that's after we put them so that we know where is the key player, so that we should engage closely, and then which part that we can give the minimal effort to join with them. So this is the mappings that we done. Please forward. Okay, this is part of the water stakeholder mapping. As previously Pak Sigit mentioned about the regulator, also users. Now about the stakeholder mapping, the government is also act as governing and empowering, and the private is participating. This is for business actually, and then the public's commonly user, so the public also participating. But we also knowing the community, this is motivating also as observer. And I think things that Pak Sigit already develops community, what we call it rivers, safe river communities, or komunitas peduli sungai, rivers community, yes, kind of it. And then university, of course. So universities can get discuss with all of them, and also can say some things about IWRM. Of course, that we can give also training of trainer to universities. Next, please. Okay, that's what we did, capacity building for partners. So among others, training of facilitator on dialogue on water and food environments by IMI. This is around 2003. Also that encourage formal and informal education program in IWRMs. And of course, in 2005, we also established kind of a national movement on saving water, to safeguarding water. So this is done during the Minister Basuki as a Director General of Water Resources. And then workshop on issue inventory on institutional water resources function and competency at national level. So that's kind of capacity building to introduce IWRM, to explain. And then advancing national water resources management projects. This is 2006. At that time, we also established then National Water Resources Council. So this is kind of the National Water Resources Council. And as Pak Sigit mentioned, at the provincial and river basin level, we call it TKPSDA, National Coordination Team within river basins level. And then, of course, journalists is also important. So we give training to journalists in 2008, IWRM training for journalists in 2008, and also training of trainers in WRMs. This is from universities, from local governments, etc. And then dialogues on local community, capacity building on drought 2013. And of course, many more. Please. Like this one, recent activities, improvement of knowledge and capacity of stakeholders in implementing of integrated flood management. As you know, that floods occur everywhere during the rainy seasons. And this is in part of Cisandani River, close to Jakarta. And then also formulation of capacity development program on hydroclimatology aspect and respond to climate change. And also kind of participation of local communities in improving water and sanitation management. This is important part since in SDGs level, water supply and sanitation is quite low in Indonesia. Please forward. And then we divided what kind of roles and activities. So the government roles, role setting according to its responsibilities, either the planning, either for the construction of infrastructure, either water resources, others, road, etc. So that's role sharing according to its responsibility of government entity. And then a selection of aspects to be strengthened, and of course that organizational strengthening. And then public participations according the stages of development, either planning, development, or at operational stages. And then, of course, that include monitoring and evaluation of its effectiveness. And then what type of approach and strategy? Approach can be facilitation, partnerships, guidance, or also empowerment. This is include training, revitalize of public participation. Of course, that organizations need strengthening. Still in the corner, please. Please. Okay, that talking about organization, human resources, financial aspect, and also work program and networking, and the third is opportunity. So that's kind to improve capacity of organization of NGOs or other non-government organizations. Please. Okay, this short closing remarks. As you know, that we know that water and its environment is our vital role to support human and all living creatures' need, and therefore has to be protected and to be managed carefully, so that all human activities should be encouraged to utilize water in proper manner, and then to maintain and increase water security in terms of its quantity, quality, and continuity. So that's jargon here is quantity, quality, and continuity. And then stakeholder participations. to fulfill and maintain its rules and functions, either as regulator, as a user, observer, and also to socialize it. I mean, yeah. And then coordination and cooperation to support participation and to improve of its results. And then facilitation and empowerment, guidance from institutional concerns to revitalize public participation, either in the form collaboration and cooperation to facilitate the empowerment, and to strengthen and facilitate an independent organization. So this should be independent organization, not as non-aligned organizations. Okay, I think that's all. Yes. So together we share, together we care. So that hopefully water governance can be fulfilled.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I think, yeah, Pak Amran is back, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, Pak Amran, sorry. Pak Amran, thank you very much for your presentations and also a good insight. I take two words, yeah. Quantity, quality, and continuity. I know that in my experience dealing with farmers and fisher folks, yeah. But this is a goods. But I now understand that water also have this kind of quantity, quality, and continuity. And thank you also to stress that the importance of independent facilitations to facilitate the participation process. Okay, Pak. Oh, I also want to remind again all the participants to fill the Mentimeter for the question and answer session. Okay, next our speaker is manager of River Care Program, Global Environment Care, Mr. Khalid Hassan Kailasam. He also Global Environment Center, GWP Malaysia partner, and pioneering civic science and community-based river management in Malaysia. He also has developed various river water and solid water management system. Developed river auditing, river ranger, smart ranger, flood ranger, and the RH2O program. And I can see that in the pictures, you are really a riverman, Pak Khalid Hassan. So yeah, without further ado, I give the time to you now. Please, Pak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Aldi, for the wonderful introduction. First, and good afternoon to all the participants and also fellow presenter. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the organizer, GWP Southeast Asia and IAAP Indonesia, invitation as well the opportunity to be part of this important and significant webinar organized today. And my title of today's presentation will be Effective Public Participation at the Community Level for Better Water Management. I'll be sharing Malaysia's experience, be it from Global Environment Center for the last 23 years, and also from other players, key players in Malaysia, including GWP Malaysia, government agencies, and also other NGOs, and also civil society. Okay, I'll start with the Global Environment Center. It's a locally registered non-profit NGO since 1998 with more than 23 years of building partnership for the environment. So today, with everyone, I will share about GEC and citizen science, that people as the key driver to ensuring public participation for optimal water governance in achieving water security. As we aware that for the global crisis on water, I think we have issue on the lack of access to the clean potable water, as well the water scarcity. Based on the various studies, I think everyone will agree that that we are facing water scarcity, and also they predicted by 2050, 69% of the country that affected due to the water scarcity will be within Asia region. That's very scary. Okay, and also predicted that by in 11 years time, that you and I have left with no choice to choose between glass A or B. That is the issue that we are facing at the global level. And also, if you look into the overall issue of the lack of water, access to water, and as well the water scarcity, is mainly due to the human factor. So based on my knowledge and also my involvement with the community and so on, we can summarize that the main culprit for the whole issue that faced by humankind in this world is due to the human. So human is the culprit. Therefore, because of the unsustainable development, resource extraction, over extraction, pollution, encroachment, illegal discharge, partially or untreated effluents, as well as the climate change and other things. So if the cause of all problem is a human, then the solution also must be human too. And when we talk about human factor, we need to understand what is the river care. And when we talk about the governance of water resource management or water management, it must cover three main aspects. One, the quality of the water in our river, quantity of the water, and also physical condition. And what are the key scope to ensure the public participation for the good governance, water governance thing is, first is the ownership, that everyone have to have this feeling of ownership, the importance of the water resource management. Second, conservation, rehabilitation, and also the pollution or waste management, and also equally important on the enforcement, monitoring, and also sharing. And beside that, also recognition and reward to keep the momentum of people, stakeholders engagement. And beside, for me, one of the key things also equally important is the education. So public on water management, we need to reconnect people to the nature, reconnect back to the nature, let nature guide everyone. And as we know, river as a living entity, he got spirit. In fact, my name is Kali, also river. So that much we involve on the river. River is a living entity, and we strongly believe that river basin management should be guided by both human ethics as well the river ethics, because river is a living entity. Okay, and why public participation? I think the previous speaker, Pak Amron, and others have emphasized the importance of public participation. By why is key, why is important? Because only when stakeholders' interest in and acceptance on the water resource management are restored, then only it is possible to ensure stakeholder involvement in reality, in actual manner. And when we look into the spectrum of public engagement or participation in water resource management, it's all started with the awareness, creating awareness, and then participation, and which lead to the action and also the ownership. So when we look into the hierarchy of the flow, we found that when we move from the awareness to the ownership, it's become difficult to initiate, but is effectively important and increasingly effective on the water resource management. So whether we like it or not, although it becomes harder as you move from left to right, it is also very effective. So whether we like it or not, we need to do that. Of course, when we talk about increase the public participation, we are talking about to build a relationship or bring back people to the nature, okay, between the environment, human health, and human well-being, and also growth of human rights okay, on the legal and political system also equally important, and as well to link with the international community for good governance also are some of the factors to increase the public participation. Besides that, in GEC, we also have developed civic science that to put the civic back into the civil engineering. So they enable the local action and to reconnect the nature to the nature so that to instill the ownership. Okay, and finally, the approach that we should adopt is a bottom-up to balance the top-down as well. The type of participation. There's a various type of participation which I'm not going to go detail today, and also a strategy shift from the mainly consultation to the shared decision making to get the buy-in from the public. And when we look into the overall, to create awareness, people need to understand everyone about water connection, that all is interconnected. If there's no water, there's no life. Okay, so the tagline in GC, we call water is life, river is lifeline. Therefore, protect rivers to protect our life, not to protect the environment, actually to protect our life, our family, our society, our country, our globe, and so on. And the key factor when we talk about water to get the buy-in from the public so that they can participate in the water governance or water resource management. Number one, they need to understand the difference between water and potable water. Although water is infinite, but not the potable water. Okay. Number two, when we talk about water, as I think Pak Imran or previous speaker also mentioned that how important water for the GDP of the country, including Indonesia, he mentioned, he gave the certain percentage. So it's important people to understand water is actually is a fundamental for the GDP of the country. Besides that, people need to understand also when we talk about water, the value, the commodity. Of course, as an NGO, we don't look into the financial or economic value, but more on the social perspective. As a commodity, the value, and as we know, water being traded in the Wall Street on the future market. And the next one is water is a fundamental for all the 17 SDG goal. Okay, that important, and obviously for the global reporting, and especially for Malaysia, it is key blueprint for the next 20 years until 2040 National Agenda for Water Sector Transformation, which clearly define that people is the driver. So empowering people is the key thing under the water sector transformation 2040, especially in the next 5 years. And also in Malaysia, we also emphasize as a part of the good governance, water should be seen as a national security. And when I mentioned one of the key things that everyone need to understand that, as we know, water cannot be destroyed or created, but only thing we can do is we change from one shape, one form to another form through the water cycle. But what is most important that everyone should understand, especially the public, that all of us are part of this water cycle. So water cycle doesn't stand alone. It's a part of our puzzle of human day-to-day activity by us. Whatever we do in our residential area, in our industrial, in our agriculture, in any other activity, actually have a significant direct impact on water cycle. So therefore, we need to understand that if you fail to play our role, and then we going to receive the impact thing. And if you want to translate into a layman term, that we can say whatever we do will come back to us through the water supply. So as Malaysia, 97% of our water come from the river. And I believe Indonesia also may be similar trend and so on. The second one, people need to understand the stakeholders when we talk about water resource management, that all rivers are not same. We need different approach. Similar to people, river also need different approach. We need to internalize based on the need of the thing. And also proper understanding on the stakeholders success model. As well, people need to learn to coexist with the other thing. And when we talk about stakeholders, a lot of people, I think Pak Amran also mentioned, government, private sectors, public, and also other sector. But if you go detail as defined by everyone, whether it's a federal government, state government, local government, education, research institute, local communities. But what I want to go beyond what been shared is all these things is good, but all these things can be grouped under one group called Homo sapien or human being. But we need to understand that when we talk about stakeholders or the beneficiary, it's not only human being, but also another two key player, which is a flora and fauna, plants and animal. Therefore, all of us need to understand as a stakeholders, we need to work with the nature, okay, and not against it. So to ensure the common goods balance the need for human being, animal and plants, also to balance the need for the environment, economic, social, as well as religious or spiritual. And when we talk about smart partnership, often that water problems are generated outside of the water sector. So now we need to learn that, we must involve all players. It cannot be any more water-centric. We need to look into the unpresentable or hidden actor. So of course in GC we have approached WIPC, and also we have come up with the people-driven action for sustainable water resource management through smart partnership. You can have my presentation. And what the key thing is as defined under the National Water Sector Transformation 2040, and which GC championing for the last more than 20 years, that people is the driver, the key change agent. And when we define and talk about people, is also from the government, private sectors, public, local communities, research, education institutions. Equally important also politicians, as well as the spiritual leaders. So when we talk about people here, we're talking about community engagement, participation. We're also talking about spiritual leaders, politicians, and everyone. These are some of the activities that public participation is important in terms of how bottom-up approach, in terms of the restoration, in terms of the improvement of water quality at their community level, in terms of river rehabilitation, and also to give hope to the people, to reconnect them back to the nature, especially the river. We can set up open classroom. These are some of the key things that community can do on their own to take the ownership. Besides that, they also can include the nature-based solution as a part of the water quality improvement or habitat creation, because river belong to all. As a living entity, river belong to all. So we need to ensure that enough habitat, the biodiversity aspect of the river also to be maintained or restored. And also about to reduce the pressure on our water resource, the catchment area, then we need to also look into the resource and pollution management through the zero waste concept or Smart Ranger program, which is a 4R2C, and also look into the liquid pollution, about importance of prevention, and also role that community can play on the water catchment protection monitoring and also sharing, and also look into the alternative water supply so that we can reduce the pressure on water catchment. And the other one, I also like to emphasize that we need to learn or educate public, whether any part of the world, that drainage is one of the key part of the river management. In fact, in GC, we have developed My Drains Day to show them how important the drain as a part of the river management. No point we love our river, but not the drain. Drain is a nucleus for the river system in the country. And also we can use religious and spiritual belief and activities as a part of the empowerment, community empowerment process. And finally, when we come to people, connectivity with the river and network, obviously in Malaysia, we have initiated what we call Friends of River Basin in Malaysia. It's not something new. It started in 2002, but only for the last 5 years, or especially 3 years, people become proactive and come forward to take the ownership and play important role on water resource management by reducing the pressure on water catchment, improve the carrying capacity of the river by using nature-based solution, as well monitoring the river, and also contribute the other factors on that. Behind the thing, the Malaysian government have initiated what we call National River Trail Program, or in Malay they call Denai Sungai Kebangsaan, by the Ministry of Environment and Water. Okay, where they aim to have 10,000 kilometers of national river trail. And one of the main reason for this National River Trail Program is to get involvement of the local communities, NGOs, and also corporate body, which indirectly will foster and increase awareness and the ownership about the caring for the river and the environment, so that we can, when everyone go to the river, to attract back people to be with the river, and also as be eyes and ears, so that they can also control the river pollution and so on. And of course, the other factor, I'm coming to the end, is we also have to see, educate public that they need to know their role, not only by going to the river, but also their role behind the scene. And therefore, people need to understand, when we talk about water resource, we also have to look into the water consumption, both direct water usage and also indirect water usage. We can look into the global water footprint, which is 1,385 cubic meter water per capita per year, and for Malaysia is slightly higher than that. But what I want to emphasize, I only share the Malaysian scenario. If you look into the water usage in Malaysia, obviously our water usage is 5,800 liters per capita per day. But on the other hand, when you do the breakdown, 97% are indirect water. So you want to be smart. You want community participation in water governance, we need to tackle the indirect waters, which currently no one emphasizes, and people not aware that their involvement is actually more on the indirect water and not so much on the direct water. So people are emphasizing direct water, but for me the key thing is indirect, because 97 are from the indirect water. So what is the indirect water? The water that virtually available in whatever we consume, whatever we eat, whatever we wear, and all these things. So therefore, we need to start emphasize the management of indirect water or virtual water, because for Malaysia example, 97, and I believe in Indonesia also indirect water will be definitely more than the direct water. So this is another thing when we talk about community participation, not only the direct one, not only going to river, but at least and within their house, within their residential, they also can play a significant role on that. And also for the environmental education, obviously you can use a lot of program. Of course, in GC we have developed, I think Pak Aldi in the introduction, you mentioned that, Smart Ranger, River Ranger, Park Ranger, Dr. H2O, so many things. And then the module available in our website, the tools, because people need right tools to be actively participating and also monitoring the water resource in the country and the material. And all you can download from the our website, which shared here on the QR code. You can scan and download all for free. And obviously, when we talk about community participation, we also have to look into the sustainability and also on the financial support system. Obviously, in Malaysia, we have a few systems. One of the things is Wakaf Air, or Water Endowment initiative by the Ministry of Environment and Water and Yayasan Wakaf Malaysia, launched in December 2020, which we are giving a small-scale water project worth of below 50,000. So they have given a lot of projects. So this is one thing. On the other hand, this one on the infrastructure, where on the other hand, GC have launched National River Care Fund in 2015, long time ago, where with the aim to improve the community awareness and participation on the water and river and the environment in large. And so far we have distributed more than 470,000 ringgit Malaysia to more than 37 community group in the country. Okay, so whether we like it or not, although community willing to come forward, the environmental or business model also need to be infused or empower the community on this to sustain the community engagement or participation. Finally, we also have to see the recognition and reward. We need to in order to motivate and keep continue their involvement, we need to recognize and also, if possible, reward. In GC, we always have this River Award to acknowledge, so that it give an extra or motivation for them to continue playing their role. And these are the acknowledgement for whoever supported our project over the last 20 years. Okay, as a final conclusion, summary, as we know, environment belongs to all of us. When we say all, we need to understand not only human being, but also flora and fauna. And we know water is a basic for life, okay, for both human and also flora, fauna. And water are connected with everything and anything. So any mismanagement will affect every living things. No? And we strongly believe that river basin as a river, as a living entity, river basin management should be guided by both human and river ethics. Okay, and it's a time for us through the community engagement or participation. We need to put civic back to the civil engineering and learn to balance the hard approach with the soft approach and the hard approach. And what the key thing, take action, be responsible. We are citizens of the globe. We need to be responsible for our own action, change your lifestyle, manage sustainably our water resources, know your river basin, know your river address, consider your hidden water footprint, which is very important because we strongly believe that all of us can make the difference. And finally, the most important, the attitude. Just do it, walk the talk, no talk, action only. Don't be like NATO, no action, talk only. So here we talk about no talk, action only, no matter how big or small, because all of us can make the difference. With that, for healthier environment, better economy, and more cohesive society, water is life, river is lifeline. Protect our rivers to protect our life. Together we achieve more. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you very much, Pak Khalid Hasan. Impressive presentations, and I learned a lot from your presentation. Again, thank you. So I would like to, please again, participants use Mentimeter to ask questions. And now we come to the last but not least presentation, which is Pak Fani Weda Huritama, my friend, a regional coordinator of Global Water Partnership Southeast Asia. So without further ado, I give time to Pak Fani. Please, Pak Fani.
Yes, thank you, Pak Aldi. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for all the keynote speakers and the presenters, the previous presenters. We have a very rich presentation, and I also learned a lot. And I hope for everybody else also who is attending this also learned a lot. Now I will present, can you go to the next slide, please? My presentation will be about an initiative that we are currently developing in Asia for the Asia level. It's called Integrated Water Security Open Program. Now, if we hear from the keynote speakers and then the previous presenters, when we talk about public participation, there is one key question actually, and I saw this already in the Mentimeter. There is a question on that. So when we talk about public participation, we need to know what is the engagement mechanism. How, if we want to participate, the most important thing is that how do we do that? Is there any interface between the non-government and the government actors to come together and use that interface and then to collaborate, to do something together? So let's say you want to go somewhere together and you are using the car. The car is the interface. Now, do we have that kind of interface? Now, the presentation from Pak Sigit. Sorry, there is a. Let's go. Can everybody, if not presenting, can mute your audio? Thank you. So what Pak Sigit already present in Indonesia, if you are talking about the coordination in the catchment area, you have this organization called TKP-SDA, the coordination team for the river management, catchment management. So this is the kind of interface that we need. So everybody can join, can use that interface, can use that platform, and use that forum to discuss and to contribute. Now, the same with that, in that principle, we are also in the Global Water Partnership Southeast Asia. We try to develop what we call Integrated Water Security Open Program. Why we call it Open Program? Because this is for everybody. Now, under the Integrated Water Security Open Program, there are two components, two big components. The first one is the Water Security Open Platform, and the second one is the Water Security Support Facility. I'm going to mainly explain about the first component, And then I will inform a little bit about the second component, which is still in development. The first component is already in an advanced stage of development. So as I mentioned to you before, this initiative is an initiative at the Asia level. So it consists of 4 regions: China, Central Asia, and Caucasus, and then South Asia, and then Southeast Asia. And then what is water security? I'm going to explain about the first component. So please, next slide, please. Yeah, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so I'm going to explain about the first component, which is the integrated water security open platform. Now, what is this water security open platform? Yeah, so it is a platform where everybody, all kind of organization, big or small, no matter where you are, you can register your action. But when you register your action, you can also inform that my action is actually related to this indicator of water security, or that indicator of water security. This way, we know who is actually doing something on water security. And this is a kind of public participation, because when we discuss about public participation, it's not like that we are waiting for the government to create this a platform or create this forum, so then we can join. But actually now everybody's already contributing to the water security. It's just that it's not aligned yet. Now, with this water security open platform, we hope we will be able to recognize all this contribution that is not aligned yet, but we will be able to know who is doing what, where, and with what support, and how many years the action will be done in the field. So this is what we call water security open platform. Next slide, please. Now, why we develop this? Because when we talk about who is doing what, and especially at the global level, we always monitor only the big project, the big action, and mostly this is done by the government. And we sometimes like forget that there are other stakeholders that are also doing something. But because the data and information is not there, is not available, then we don't know who is doing what and where. Now, through this open platform, we hope we will be able to provide this kind of information. And then by providing this information, we will know that, okay, actually what the government is doing can be supported by the other non-government partners. And if this can be aligned, then we can create a bigger impact. So that is one of the reason of why we developed this. Next slide, please. Now, if we are talking about the benefit, let's start from the non-government stakeholder first. First, if you register your action in this platform, your action will be recognized. No matter how big or how small is your action, it will be recognized. For example, there is an organization doing something at the village level. If you register your action, then you will be recognized. So recognition is important. This is one thing. The second one is also everybody always like to be part of something bigger. I'm contributing to this water security of Indonesia, of Malaysia, of Philippines. So how do they know that I'm contributing? Oh, this open platform helps me to register my action, so everybody know what is it that I'm doing. This is the second benefit. And then the third benefit is that by being recognized, then you can already also know what is the other doing. And then based on that, we can facilitate a learning exchange. And then if the donors see that your action is quite successful, then there is a possibility also to get to mobilize more funding from the potential financial partner. So this is something that become the benefit of the open platform. And for the government, as Pak Wisnu mentioned in the beginning, this open platform can provide this information, who is doing what where, and then it can be used to be the starting point to organize the alignment with the non-government stakeholders. So for example, government is doing something, like how to say, empowering the farmers in managing the irrigation system. But there is also another non-government stakeholder that is doing the same thing. Now, if we know that this is the same thing and aiming at the same time at the same target, why don't we align this? Because the government cannot do everything, and sometimes also the government have limitation, like covering the certain area. So if that area can be covered by the other partners, then we can, at the beginning, we can already align. Let us do this together. You cover that area, we will cover this area, and then at the end we will report together. So that is the benefit for the government. And then for the donors do not have to create new projects. They can just look at this platform and who is doing what, who is successful, who can be replicated in the other country or in the other area. So there is efficiency is increased, yeah, from the donors perspective. Next slide, please. Now, if we are talking about the theory of change, this is what we want to aim, yeah, through this open program or this open platform. Also, we want to know who is doing what in each team, who is doing what, water for ecosystem, who is doing water for people, like providing access to water, safe water, clean water, who is doing something on flood management. So once we know this, then if we align this, then we can have a water security at the end of the day, hopefully, yeah. Let me go to the next slide, please, because we don't have too much time here. Okay, so this is the indicator that we are developing for water security, because I said in the beginning, every action that being registered has to be linked with the indicator. We cannot just say that I'm supporting water security in this country, but which indicator that you are supporting? Because water security can be achieved if we achieve these indicators. So which indicator that you are achieving? So this is important, the important part of the open program. Next slide, please. Now, when we implement this open program, this open platform, we do not want to work alone. So we want to bring together all other partners and then try to make us establish a steering committee that will provide a direction on how this information and data that is gathered through the registration of action to be used by the government, by the civil society, even by the donors. Next slide, please. And then, yeah, this is also another important thing, yeah, here. So if we only ask people to, or organization to register their action, this is not attractive enough. So we need to do something more strategic that can complement that registration of the action. So first, we would like to also facilitate the development of annual multi-stakeholder contribution report. So like in the government every end of the year, they report to the decision makers, to the executive, to the president, to the parliament, that this is what they have done on water security. Now, from the non-government stakeholders, we can also facilitate that kind of report. This is the report of contribution from all the non-government stakeholders. And we hope this can be considered, and next time when we report, we can report together. So this is something that is going to be very strategic. The second one is the learning exchange event between partners, because we know who's doing what, where, and when, and then we can learn from each other. And then the third one is to also to facilitate the government, as Pak Wisnu said. We need to work together, but how to work together if we don't have the alignment mechanism? So we have to facilitate the discussion between the government and the non-government actors to come together and to decide what is the alignment mechanism, how we can align our efforts together. So next time when we do something together. So this is the strategic activities that will accompany the open platform. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the prototype of the platform. So by going to this platform, then you can browse the action that has been registered. You can also register your action. Next slide, please. And you can also, of course, when you sign up, you just put your organization name and so on. This is just just to show you that it is easy. It's very easy to sign up. We will inform you once we launch this officially next year. Next slide, please. This is how you register your action. You can even pinpoint where is your action taking place. Next slide, please. This is the example. Once you have managed to register the action, your action will be there, for everybody to see. Next slide, please. Yeah, so that is the first component of integrated water security open program. The second component, which is the twin sister of the open platform, is the integrated water security support facility. Next slide, please. I'm almost finished. The water security support facility is a facility that helps country or organization at the catchment level to accelerate its progress toward achieving water security. Yeah. So it will help the country to assess the readiness in achieving water security. Once we know what the country is, the gap of the country capacity, then we can offer the support menu. This is like when we go to the food court. We want to eat this, we want to eat that. So there is a menu to help us to fulfill our needs. Yeah. So the water security support facility is the same. If you go to the next slide, you will know what I mean. Next slide, please. So here, the blue box, water security readiness capacity assessment, we help the country to assess what are the readiness capacity. And then once we have assessed the capacity, then based on that need assessment, we can provide the country a range of support that can be accessed by the country, and then we will ask our partner to be able to deliver the support. And at the end of the day, we hope. Please wait. We hope at the end of the day, the country will have an improved readiness capacity and can achieve the water security goals, of course, in a faster manner. So that is the water security support facility. I hope this presentation will be able to help a bit on understanding how public participation can be facilitated also through this program. So thank you very much. I hand over back to Pak Aldi. Please, Pak Aldi. Thank you.
Okay, Pak Fani, thank you very much for your short, brief, and solid presentation in regard to integrated water governance. So it's time for us now. Again, thank you to all speakers for your great presentations. And I think it will be good now for us to have questions. I think I would like to open a question to the floor, yeah, using a Mentimeter. Yeah. Okay, a question to presenters. Please write your questions. Yeah. One of the question is, if we compare with other countries, this is to all speakers. Yeah. What coordination? What kind of coordination that has been done in Indonesia in the natural resource that can be competitive to in Indonesia. Jadi jika dibandingkan dengan negara lain, apakah koordinasi yang telah dilakukan Indonesia dalam bidang ini sudah mampu bersaing? So again, this is all about benchmarking. So please, speakers, if you can have like a 1 minute response to these questions, it will be fantastic. Yes. Do you want? I give you, or I should mention a name, yeah. So if from the senior one, Pak Amron, please, Pak Amron, because you are the white hair. Pak Amron, please unmute your.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Pak.
So can I speak Indonesian then, ya?
Ya, silakan, Pak.
Baik. Jadi mungkin ini tanpa tanpa melihat dengan negara lain, tapi paling tidak bahwa sudah ada regulasi yang mengatur dan kemudian ada institusi yang ditunjuk untuk melakukan koordinasi. Dalam SDA itu menampung dari agensi terkait dinas-dinas terkait atau departemen terkait. Kemudian juga ada dari asosiasi, dari segala macam asosiasi. Jadi segala sesuatunya sudah disiapkan dan kemudian ada berapa kali bersidang dan seterusnya. Ini di dalam kaitannya dengan secara formal ya. Tapi kemudian tentunya ini dari berbagai aspek kemudian akan lebih didistribusikan lagi ke dalam masing-masing organisasi yang mempunyai keterkaitan dengan hal-hal yang dilaksanakan, misalnya untuk konservasi, apakah untuk nanti di bidang irigasi itu dengan petani bagaimana, kemudian kalau untuk banjir, nah, tentunya ini yang perlu ada berbagai pihak yang bisa dilibatkan. Mungkin itu dari saya, mungkin Pak Sigit
Terima
bisa
kasih.
menambahkan.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Amran. Ya, please Pak Sigit, you can use bahasa also. Before Pak Khalid ya, Pak Khalid, I will come to you after this. Ya, Pak Sigit silakan Pak.
Terima kasih Pak. Mohon maaf nih, kita tidak, kalau dalam koordinasinya, mungkin memang perlu juga belajar dari negara lain bagaimana untuk melakukan koordinasi yang lebih baik. Tapi kalau kemudian apakah mampu bersaing atau tidak, mungkin pemahaman saya masih kurang. Tapi saya tidak melihat kenapa harus bersaing dalam koordinasi. Karena dalam sisi manajemen sumber daya air, itu kondisi sumber daya air kita juga mempunyai, jangankan di Indonesia, di pantar wilayah sungai saja permasalahannya juga tidak sama. Gitu. Jadi antar wilayah sungai saja tidak bisa disandingkan ya. Kemudian kebutuhannya, bencananya dan segala macam. Memang dari sisi pembinaan keaktifan TKPSD-nya kita bisa, saya mohon maaf karena ini ada di tempat saya bisa kelompokkan beberapa kondisi TKPSDA ya, ada berbagai macam, misalnya ada yang baru terbentuk, ada yang baru harus memahami tugasnya, ada yang sudah mulai bisa merumuskan dan segala macam. Jadi di antara kita sendiri saja ini tidak bisa disandingkan apakah harus bersaing antara koordinasi TKPSD antar wilayah sungai, itu juga tidak ini. Jadi kalau pertanyaan ini potretnya seperti itu Pak Aldi. Jadi kita membina, meningkatkan peran serta masyarakat di dalam koordinasi, mematangkan TKPSD yang sudah terbangun, dan mendorong untuk pembentukan yang belum terbangun. Intinya seperti itu. Dan kita terus berusaha mendorong untuk meningkatkan keaktifan masyarakat di dalam melakukan sidang-sidang seperti yang disampaikan Pak Amran tadi, dalam sidang-sidang TKPSDA. Terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Sigit atas jawabannya. Silakan Pak, please Pak Khalid respond to these questions. You are on mute.
Sorry,
I think.
I don't think so. I'm appropriate to answer on behalf of what Indonesia can do. I'm not so sure what's currently taking place, so I don't think it'll be appropriate for me to comment on this. Sorry, thank you.
You are a good diplomat, Pak. Kali. Okay, Pak. Sorry. Now I think Pak Fani, can you answer this?
Yeah. Pak Aldi, thank you for the opportunity. I think I agree with Pak Sigit also, that this is not about competing, but this is about learning from each other. So the different catchment have different problems, and there are many ways of of many mechanisms that we can use. So the example from Indonesia, having the TKP SDA as a vehicle for every element of the stakeholders to come in and to provide and to contribute. This is also already something that is very good. Now, even I think the TKP SDA has a very tangible product, which is the pola perencanaan ya Pak Sigit ya. So this is this is the document that really being used and referred for the development of the catchment itself. So I think this is one thing that we learn from Indonesia. From Malaysia, as Dr. Khalid already mentioned, we can also learn about how we can coordinate to finance the development of the river. So this is also something like the National River Care Fund. This is something that we can also learn from Malaysia. So it is about learning from each other, and hopefully with the open program that we have developed right now, we will be able to see what is being done in another country and facilitate that learning exchange, and then we can improve how we do things at our country. So thank you.
Thank you, Pak Fani. This is the second question. I hope this is the last question because the time is 4:30 now. So what, according to the presenters, what do you think is the main bottleneck of public participation? Yes, again, from Pak Amron, Pak, silakan.
Okay, thank you. Well, the main bottlenecks is actually providing information. If there are information to publics, then there will be kind of communication between publics and the organizer. So that's understanding the issues, and then trust. So there must be a trust, and then the agency or the institutions must listening what their problems actually. So that's good listener maybe as part of the improving the bottleneck of the public participation. This is my 3 points about the bottlenecking. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Amron. Pak Sigit, silakan Pak Sigit.
Maaf, ini untuk pertanyaan yang mana? Yang ini ya, bottleneck ini ya?
Iya, betul yang bottleneck ini, Pak.
Gerak-gerak terus soalnya tulisannya.
Oh, oke.
Yang bottleneck ini, Pak. Halo? Suara saya tidak masuk, Pak.
Yes, bisa, Pak.
Ya, jadi pertanyaan yang bottleneck of public participation ini ya?
Ya, betul.
Ya, baik. Jadi untuk permasalahan di Indonesia ya, ini terkait dengan public participation. Ini mungkin memang perlu penyadaran, meningkatkan kepeduliannya kepada masyarakat kita, karena ini ya kebanyakan memang kondisi di Indonesia ini selain masyarakatnya belum begitu memahami terkait dengan sumber daya air, ini juga disebabkan oleh banyak yang terutama di luar Jawa itu kondisi sumber daya air itu masih tidak tidak menimbulkan konflik antar user. Namun begitu terjadi kerusakan dan terjadi masalah atau terjadi bencana atau terjadi kekeringan, baru akhirnya terjadi ada konflik. Tapi kan ini kan sudah terlambat. Harusnya kan sejak masih bagus, sejak kondisi sumber daya air kita masih bagus, ini kan sudah harus mulai ada kepedulian meskipun ada masalah, belum ada masalah. Namun pada praktiknya seperti itulah di wilayah sungai kita yang masih kondisinya masih bagus, seringkali masyarakat ini belum begitu peduli. Untuk apa? Sehingga banyak sekali TKP SDA yang akan dibentuk itu dari masyarakat tidak banyak peminatnya. Bahkan tidak bisa memenuhi aturan yang harus persyaratan yang terpenuhi seperti di dalam pedoman dalam pembentukan TKPSDA. Jadi ini kadang harus diulang, harus ada public campaign lagi untuk memberikan penyadaran itu. Dan nanti kalau sudah terbentuk, seringkali juga sidang-sidang tidak begitu aktif dilakukan karena itu tadi masih belum ada masalah yang serius. Nah, kalau sudah terjadi sesuatu baru mereka baru tergerak. Jadi main bottleneck-nya adalah kesadaran publik itu, Pak Aldi, untuk mereka ikut berperan di dalam menjaga sumber daya air sebelum terjadi kerusakan atau terjadi permasalahan di dalam pengelolaan sumber daya air. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Pak. Oh, ini kelihatannya ada pertanyaan berikutnya, tapi buat yang lainnya. Ini untuk Pak Khalid sepertinya. How to keep sustainability such a e-monitoring and how to ensure that data that were collected can be used in the next planning and decision-making process. So yes, I believe you have a great best practice and lesson learned from this, Pak Khalid. Please, Pak, answer. Your answer will be beneficial.
Is it me, Pak Aldi?
Yeah,
Sorry.
you, Pak Khalid. Pak Khalid
Okay,
Hasan.
okay. Thank you, Pak Aldi. Thank you for the question about. I think I'll touch on the earlier one and also on this. I think when we talk about the bottleneck for people's participation, I think I like to list few things now. Number one, about the ownership and also the smart partnership, how public can work together with the government and also the private sectors. I think in order to have this self-sustaining on the action-based participation, I think one of the key things that everyone need to understand or set the tone is, number one, they need to be provided a formal platform for everyone to perform their action. That's number one. There must be a platform. Currently, I think although there are so many platforms available, but not the formal platform. That's number one. Number two, as a part of what Pak Pani mentioned, second is we also have to develop appropriate indicators which should be understood by everyone, because based on our 20 years experience, when we talk about water resource management, we shouldn't talk about water quality, the BOD, COD. It's something that can relate to the people. So we use the living things as an indicator. So that is the second thing. So when we develop the indicator, make sure that the indicator is something that people can relate, so that they will put the action and they can see the progress for themselves. I'll give you one good example. In Malaysia, we use bioindicators, living things, presence of living things in their backyard river as the indicator for the success of their action. Presence of good indicator fish, and so on. So that is second one. One, provide the platform. Second, create the indicator that people can relate to themselves. And third one is how to balance the top down and bottom up. And finally, I think there's one question also: how can we involve everyone, including the vulnerable group, the women, the youth? And I found out that one of the key things to have the sustainable and continuous action is when we empower the women as well the youth. Youth is very difficult to engage, but once they're in, because we need to adjust. When I say we, mean people like me, who have the old thought that we need to go into the e-monitoring. So currently in Malaysia, I think similar to other part of the world, due to the COVID-19, they cannot go to the field. So now we have developed a system called e-monitoring, how they can monitor from their backyard, from their house. This is the thing. So I think the biggest evaluation that needed from our end, from the government, also NGO, is to shift the paradigm shift from the physical monitoring to e-monitoring, and to attract the vulnerable group, especially the youth, to be the champion of the river and so on. So I think that's initial my comment on the both question. Thank you, Pak Aldi.
Thank you, Pak. I just realized that your name is Kali and Tasan. So thank you, Pak Kali. So next question will be next. This is for Pak Fani. Yeah. Please scroll down. What is the next questions? Oh, this is for Pak Kali, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the bottleneck ya Pak ya.
Oh, the bottleneck, yeah. Yeah, please,
Yeah,
Pak.
let
Pak
me,
Fani.
because I think this is something that we need to, this is important question. I mean, the bottleneck, because public participation, we have been discussing about public participation since long time. I believe the International Association of Public Participation is already know about this, yeah. And I think one of the main bottleneck is, of course, I agree with the other presenters. This is about first awareness, but I think there is a crucial one, the mechanism for engagement. When we want to participate, as I mentioned before in the presentation, there should be the mechanism of engagement. If there is no mechanism of engagement, we cannot go further. Everybody will go its own way. Where everybody will do something, but they will go in their own way. So mechanism of engagement is one of the main bottleneck. Now in Indonesia, we have example TKPSDA. This is a very good example. In Malaysia, we have another also example. Hopefully all this kind of example, then we can look again. Is this already effective enough, or it can be improved? If it can be improved, how we can improve this? Now this is probably the main challenge also. Yeah, thank you. Pak Aldi, you're still on mute.
Thank you, Pak. So I think we come to the end of our sessions. I would like to ask again 1 minute for each presenter to provide wisdom. Yeah. About please unshare the screen, yeah, so we can focus for the wisdom. Just 1 minute, like a wisdom and also like a conclusion wisdom of these discussions. Again, I would like to provide first moment to Pak Amron. Yeah. Please, Pak Amron.
Yeah, thank you. I think that public participations in terms of water governance and water resources is kind of a must. So that's why, because this dealings with all stakeholders. So everybody need water. So therefore, the process should be involving many aspects, many participants, many stakeholders. So that's whether they've been as the affected peoples, or they can be as influencing, and or has the knowledge or about the problems. So is that why in terms of water governance, so that's providing better services, one of the requirements is giving more public participation into every stages, either in planning, either in construction or developing, and also during the operation and maintenance of the systems. So this is what I mean by public participation is a must in our water resources activities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Amron. Pak Sigit, can you, please 1 minute wisdom, wise word to us. Thank you.
Baik, Pak. Jadi sesuai dengan tadi materi yang saya bawakan terkait dengan koordinasi. Jadi memang collaboration between government and civil society is important in the water resources management, especially in coordination. This is, I think this is a key success for water management. Thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Sigit. Sekarang Pak Kali Tasan.
Okay, thank you, Pak Aldi.
Yep.
I think for me, as I mentioned in my presentation, water is life, rivers lifeline, and rivers a living entity. I think for the human being, which is the only creatures, we have sixth sense that we can think for others. Okay, because animal cannot think, no, only we think. But unfortunately, sometimes or most of the time we behave like animal. You know, we don't think. I'm so sorry that. So now we need to go back to the root of human being in the God creation, that we need to not only protect ourselves, but also look into holistic, that river is a living thing, and we need to infuse the traditional knowledge. Okay, the river ethics, not only the human ethics. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I think we need to be proactive when we say community public participation, that our role all the time, not for the view of public, because sometimes people do good thing in front of others, but behind the scene, they show their true colors. So what is really matter is what you and I do within our mean on the day to day. So so forget about the big thing which need money, which is good if we can done. But for me, the most important when we say public participation, that what you and I can do within our daily practices on the day to day, whether direct or indirect activity that contribute towards the better environmental management. So I think that's the thing. So what you and I do within our mean, when no one is watching, what we are doing is really matters. So we need to play like a human being. Don't be like worse than other creatures. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Pak Kali. This is really deep wisdom. Thank you again. Pak Fani, your wise.
Yeah, thank you. So Pak Kali is mentioning about integrity. So that is a very good message. But I will add to that. Yeah. So from me, integrity, as Dr. Kali already mentioned, I agree. And second is commitment. Without commitment, you will never start. But most importantly, persistent. Without persistence, you will never finish what you do. So these are my key messages: commitment, persistence, and add the integrity into the equation. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Fani. So I think it's time for me to transition. So I will give again a space to Ibu Elvi. Please, Ibu.
Okay, thank you, Pak Aldi, for moderating the presentation session and the Q&A section also. And thank you for such a good discussion. I will share just some key point or summary for today's seminar. First, hello.
Boleh di-mute, panitia.
Okay, so first, the importance of public participation or community involvement in water management and governance. In fact, almost speakers also mentioning that it is a key for implementing any project of or initiative. And so it is very crucial to be initiated at all levels, at local, national, regional, and also at the international level. And everybody can be participated in management and governance at various level. In fact, also like our colleagues from Australasia also mentioning that community is also very important even at the international level. So it is very crucial. So we must play our significant role. And the specific platform to be involved in public participation or to monitor public participation is available, such as Open Program, for example, and many others platform. So we must fully utilize available mechanism to make sure public participation initiative can be gathered and monitored accordingly. And this will also help the decision maker to plan properly and comprehensively. So that's all some key summary. Thank you very much all, and hope you will find it useful and will be motivating all of us to be more involved in any public participation program later, nearby our places or our workplace, or whether, at various level. So next, I will invite Pak Aldi to close this webinar, like in maybe 1 or 2 minutes, because we already passed the time. So please, Pak Aldi.
Yeah, thank you, Ibu Elvi. Again, first, I would like to start by thanking all the great speakers, and also for their excellent thought-provoking talks, and most importantly, I would like to thank all the participants for optimal water governance in achieving water security goals is everyone's responsibility, because the process of institutionalizing public participation is not easy and it cannot be solved by one stakeholder only. With the IEP2 spectrum of public participations, first in the informed states, the government needs to provide the public with the balanced and objective information about the water security. Furthermore, in the consulting stage, the government should obtain public feedback on analysis, alternative or discussions. The public needs to be involved in the collaboration for giving input in the decision for giving a solutions. The last is empower, which is the place for final decision making in the hand of public. I want to inform you that in this webinar, the output is an articles. We are also going to publish it on our website. Furthermore, we also plan to have like a working paper based on this webinar. And IEP2 Global Water Partnership Southeast Asia and also other stakeholders need to make a roadmap together about the water security goals to optimal water governance in multi-level. In the roadmap plan, we will discuss and search water security issues together. Also discuss the water resource target to support the water-related sustainable development goals and target. The most important thing is to build and maintain an ongoing collaboration platform, like Pak Fani said, to build a joint roadmap with the Global Water Partnership in achieving progress on the integrated water resource management to 2021. So again, that's my closing remarks for this, I think almost more than 2.5 hours. I also would like to say sorry, for whatever kekurangan yang ada dalam kegiatan ini. So thank you, be safe and be healthy for everybody. Again, thank for speakers. Thank you very much, Pak Khalid, Pak Amron, Pak Sigit, Pak Fani. I think that's all for me. With this remark, I think I will go give again to you, Ibu Elvi.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so I just want to thank everyone for participating today, and for our speakers for sharing all the important message related to public participation to all of us. So thank you very much again, and see you all in the next webinar.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Amron. Thank you, Dr. Khalid. Thank you, Mr. Sigit. Thank you, everybody. It's been a
Thank you,
very
everyone. Pak Fani, Pak
great
Aldi,
webinar.
Dr. Rahman,
Thank you, Dr.
everyone.
Khalid.
Thank you.
Dr. Amron.
Stay safe.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, see you all. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Pak Sigit. Thank you. Thank you, Pak Aldi,
Bye-bye.
and everybody.
Makasih.
Bye-bye.